All right, all right. All right, y'all. Let me do it the official way. Here we here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hey y'all. Listen. Uh technology, right? Technology is everything and nothing at the same time. So this definitely was not though this wasn't a technological issue. This was Donald Morton's human error issue.
All
And
right,
so
y'all.
we want to welcome you to, let me see, I can hear a bit of feedback.
So we
Maybe that.
this was. Let me see. I can hear a bit of feedback.
Let's see. Is that me or you? Do you know?
I think it was me because I was sharing, but that is done.
Okay, okay, cool beans. Yeah. So we working this out, y'all. This is a bit, Yolanda, of how dating goes. The awkwardness of dating and how how dating genuinely takes place. And so I want to make sure that, okay, good. I see that you shared. Let me do the exact same thing. So as you guys are coming on, do me a favor and let us know in the comments. I'm going to comment. Let me see. I don't know why this is still playing. I'm going to be in the comments and just kind of sharing with everyone. There we are.
I'm going to comment. I'm going to be in the.
All right, I'm going to be in the comments. So let me share though. Let me share to my group, my private Remand community group, where there are no sisters allowed.
What?
So we're bringing a sister into the group,
Okay.
where men hurt and some other places, right? So we'll make sure that we do that, and then also I'm going to share uh, to some other places too. Okay, all right, cool beans. Those of you that are watching, do me a favor and type your name in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Um, Let us know where you are watching from.
Type
We'd
your
like
name
to
in the chat. Let
kind
us
of
know where
get a
you're watching
handle
from.
on where everybody is. Shout
Let
your
us know where
name, rep
you're.
your city. Let us know exactly where you are so that we can celebrate you. And then as you are coming on as well, do me a favor and like this broadcast and then share this broadcast so that individuals can participate in the conversation, right? That becomes really, really important. Um, and you got to play games. You got to play the game that the Facebook algorithm plays. The Facebook algorithm is triggered by participation and engagement. So if you want your friends to see this, if you want family to see this, if you want your boo to see this, type their name in the message part, right? And then it'll connect them to what's going on here. Yolanda, what's happening with you?
Oh, everything is happening. It's a good life down here in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm on
Good
my way.
weather.
Yes,
And excited to be talking to you today, Donald.
I'm
We've been
incredibly
talking behind the scenes, but bringing this live is just what we need.
absolutely. I've been like a kid at Christmas, just really awaiting. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is probably one of my favorite comedians, right? Eddie Murphy back, I don't know which of his stand-up routines it was, but Eddie Murphy talked about what it looks like to wait on the bus stop, waiting for the bus in the shivering cold, and how you would just kind of peek out and look to see if the bus was coming. So I've been peeking out, waiting to see if the bus was coming. This particular
Hey,
conversation, I've been really excited to have with all of our folks, right? Because of this whole idea of Black love. And so we're going to take a moment. I'm going to give you space. I want you to take space and just kind of introduce yourself. I think you have one of the dopest companies I've ever. I mean, I just love
thank
love
you.
and so introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are,
Yes.
and then I'll introduce myself.
Yes. So I am Yolanda Kelly. I am a professional matchmaker. I'm based here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm just passionate about connecting Black men and women. I mean, that's what I'm doing. And I am coaching women to be their best selves so that they're ready for to make introductions with men. And I say, hey, what better person to connect with than at Real Don Morton, okay?
Yeah.
And the Remand Project.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of serious discussions about, what's happening on the dating scene. And I thought it would be fun that today that we get together and we talk about what our coaching clients are asking us and what they need help with. Because I bet you if they're asking us these things, surely it's other people having the same problems, situations. And we just need to get real and get into it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we're gonna do some deep dives. We want you guys as you are pulling up. Um, we want you guys to just kind of engage in the conversation. Then we're going to have a period at the end for Q&A. If you know how to play fair, if you are um, even if you have StreamYard, then we might just send you a link and bring you up on stage with us so that you can ask us a question directly. And if you are not that courageous, then you can just ask us a question in the chat. Either way, we want to make sure that we answer the questions that you, ladies and gentlemen, have. So I am Donald Morton. I am the CEO of Remand International. And at Remand International, we help Black men break these vicious cycles, interrupt patterns, disrupt behaviors of missed potential so that that man himself can own his own life and transform his life, leadership, and legacy. And I 100% agree with Yolanda. Um, I do get questions all the time from sisters and brothers about how to engage one another. Because Yolanda, let's just keep it a buck, right?
Mhm.
The rules have changed a bit, right, with regard to how Black men and Black women engage one another, date, the awkwardness of it. There are rules that when I was coming up are very different than the expectations or the rules of what they are now. Or I guess the question is, have the rules changed? And even if they have, should we change with them? Or should we just really abide by the traditional ways in which men and women engage one that you can call it, people can call it traditional, they can call it caveman, but what they can't say is it didn't work because what how we
Mhm.
did it back in the day really worked. What's your position on that?
Yeah, so look, the rules have changed clearly. And if you're in that 40 plus crowd, and the rules have definitely changed for how you date and how you engage and how you network. If you have traditional values, we're living in a very non-traditional world. right? And so
Yes.
you have to learn the tools and have the tools to navigate these waters, right? Of
Yes.
connection, of pandemics, of world wars, of different types of sexuality. Because if you are looking or seeking companionship, you have to understand these things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
exactly. So the rules may not have to change for you. If you're traditional, be traditional, right? The biggest thing is you just got to learn how to stand in your own space and whatever your idea of for yourself is, be able to back that up and don't compromise it.
Yeah, that's really true. I think and that's absolutely where I was going with regard to this idea that the rules have changed. The rules haven't changed for me. I'm a traditional kind of cat,
Mhm.
um, and so what it would require is for a guy who is traditional, that you can't tell me out of billions of people in this world, hundreds of millions or millions and millions of black people in this world, that
Mhm.
there is not another traditional woman for a guy who is a traditional guy, right?
That's
And you can't tell me for the sister who is a bit more progressive that there isn't a progressive dude for the progressive sister where their relationship can absolutely work, right?
mhm.
So it does require though, and then we'll get into some of the things you and I want to talk about, but it does really require that we show up as our authentic selves. And look, if there is something, Yolanda, that absolutely ticks me off, it's this whole idea that in relationships we ought to put our best foot forward, and then a little later on down the line I'll give you a little more and I get a little more, and then I end up spending uh or guy ends up spending 6 months of his life with someone that he doesn't really know, only to find out that I don't really agree and am not aligned with your particular way of viewing things. So me myself, I encourage dudes and ladies that I talk to, hey, just be you. And when you're you, allow them to make a decision as it relates to whether or not the you that you've presented is someone that they can rock out with, or the you that you've presented ain't somebody that they can rock out with, but at least you showed up as your authentic self. Is that in line with what you believe?
You just gave everybody the answer to the test, right? You just gave away the answer to the test. Okay. So
Yes.
if you really want to connect and be successful in partnership, marriage, relationship, you got to learn how to just be you.
Yes.
You got to learn how to just be you. And another thing, Donald, I want to stress is that you got to be willing to wait sometimes, and
Mm,
you must be willing to not compromise your own values. So if I say I'm traditional or I'm Christian, whatever it is that I'm defining for myself, why am I compromising that when I meet someone?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I tell the women that I'm coaching, look, the prize is you. Marriage is the
Mm,
covenant. It's not the prize, right? It may be
yes.
your end relationship goal, but you are the absolute prize. I believe that for men too, because you
Yes.
should have that level of confidence to know that. And if you
Yes.
don't know that, you should be working on those things before you date.
Yes. 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 What's the danger of not working on those things, Yolanda? What is it that you
You're
see on
six
a
months
daily
in that
basis?
relationship you just mentioned, and then you decide it's not for you. You're wasting time. And you're stop wasting your time.
Yeah. 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 So I want to make sure I got to tell you, you said that so strong, like you wasting time, and
Yeah.
I see so many people who are, because they are concerned about, they're trying to make good impressions and proper impressions. I just don't believe in that. Show up as who you are, your authentic self. Now, you know, if your authentic self has on, um, sisters, if your authentic self, you got a bonnet and that kind of stuff, yeah, you you might want to you might want to dress up a bit. Brothers, you got to dress up a bit, got to make sure that, right. But if your style is a certain way, honor that style. If her style is a certain way, honor that style. So we're going to talk today about the power of these relationships. And I don't think I can see, Yolanda, any questions that are coming up on your page. I can only see the ones that are coming up on my page and the ones that I get a chance to read.
Okay. I hope I shared, but okay, I'm trying.
I think you did. I think you did. I saw that you did. So let me take a moment and share again as well. Uh,
So let me take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So again, as you're coming in, do me a favor, let your boy know who you are, where you're watching from, and then like this, share this. We want a robust audience. We've shared it all over the place. I am also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't come with any comments. I'm also on YouTube. I'll be able to see the comments in YouTube. But I want to make sure that we are liking and sharing. All right, all right, all right. So let's talk a bit about some of the questions that you are experiencing. What are some of the questions that you're hearing from your clientele that are just kind of questions that you hear all the time?
Yeah, so Donald, so both of us, have an element of our business that is solely coaching, and
Yes,
I do date coaching,
yes,
and so I'm helping women primarily who haven't dated in a while, or they're dating but they're just not making the connections that they want to make in their relationship journey. And so, I'm spending time with these women, brilliant, and I get all kinds of questions. And so I thought it would be fun today if you and I just take on some of those questions and answer
yes,
them. And so, you know, it's nice for women to, I wanted women to hear your voice and to hear
yes,
a great male perspective too
yes,
on
yes.
how men and women are relating to each other. Don, you're married, and even we got the question yesterday. Someone posted, "Is this for just singles?" No, it's not for just singles, because there are married people in their relationships that need to understand how to
Absolutely,
better relate to one another. This is
absolutely.
this is about this is about how we as Black people connect in intimate relationship.
Yes,
How can we be better at doing that?
yes,
So that's what this is really about. And when I come together with you, I am especially wanting my audience to hear what men think, you know,
yes,
so that you gain some understanding of men. And I want men who are on to gain the understanding of how women think about these things.
absolutely.
So, one of the major questions I get is about status and career. Women really they ask me, and I really want to hear your perspective on this. Is
Yes.
does my status or career make me a great catch?
Does status and career make you a great catch? No. No, because the particular um I'm instructing people on how to engage with us on here.
Okay.
Um the any man, there are some fundamental differences between men and women. And I know that we talk about it, people talk about it, and innately people know. Um oh um so so I know innately people know that there are differences, biological differences, chemical differences between men and women. But what we don't often realize and take into account is the fact that those differences play out in our realities in relationship, right? So
Mhm.
men are incredibly achievement, production oriented, right? We are goal oriented. We are, when we're functioning at our highest and best, we're always thinking about the next thing to conquer, the next thing to overcome, the next goal to achieve, right? And so when we are focused on those things, Yolanda, it's not that we aren't impressed with a sister who has gone to school, has climbed the corporate ladder, all of those things. We celebrate our sisters who are doing the thing. We celebrate our sisters, right? But it doesn't impress us to the degree that we're going to make a decision as it relates to whether or not we're going to engage with you in a relationship, because every man is going to think about how he can provide, how he can protect. He's not really interested in your paper, because not only is it not his first thought because we're wired that way, but also society has taught us that even if a dude is interested in those things, and many guys and ladies disagree with me, but let's be clear. If a dude is asking you how much money you make and all that, you better run. You better run from that cat, right? I mean, like
Yes.
Forrest Gump, run from that, run from that dude, right? Because every guy who is worth his weight in salt is only interested in being what the creator has created him to be: protector, provider, producer, protector, provider, producer, protector, provider, producer. So he is focused on that. What you bring to the table as it relates to your career, achievements, so on and so forth, are bonus to us, but we don't rely on those things as it relates to making a decision with whether or not we're going to spend time with you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. So what if you're like a super successful woman, right?
Mhm.
And should you choose a man that's less successful than you
Uh, so I believe in
to be
this.
in relationship with? So my ask is because should it be someone on your same level? And when I say level, I'm not just talking about your financial level. I'm talking about those goals you just mentioned, right? Like how do you choose this man? Do you because women are in a traditional world, women were at home, they were
Yeah,
wives, they were moms,
yeah,
but now you have women who are like they have the superpowers. I mean, they are
yeah,
really doing business at a high level.
yeah.
They're CEOs of organizations. So, should these women date men who may not be on their financial level or not as motivated or goal oriented as them? What should these women be looking for or wanting in relationship?
So a man and a woman can never advance if they don't agree on the very basic principles and values of alignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a sister comes into the life of a guy or a guy comes into the life of a sister and they don't share values, I don't care how much money they make or anything like that. If they don't share values, then that relationship is going to go sour really, really quickly, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a part of what a brother ought to be looking for and a sister ought to be looking for is connection with someone who shares core values about work ethic, core values about integrity, core values about how she views her role in the family, right? So it doesn't make her, if she is a more progressive sister who is, again, climbing the corporate ladder, not really interested in a traditional role of wife and mom, then she's got to come into the relationship saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, so that that guy, again, as we talked about earlier, that dude who is more traditional can say, hey, we can share a meal, I appreciate you being upfront, but I'm looking for a sister who, yes, can, I mean, if she wants to work, fine, but I want a sister who is uh, far more interested in me than they are in climbing the corporate ladder, far more interested in developing relationship than they are in, climbing the corporate ladder. My mom, I was born in 69. My mom both worked and took care of family, right? So she both worked, took care of my dad until I mean, they separated because both my parents was crazy, right? So my parents separated and they should, um, right?
I
But
love your honesty.
oh yeah, I mean, my parents are crazy. I love my mom. My dad died when I was like 12.
Mm,
Um, and he died of chronic alcoholism.
Interested
And
in
a part of what didn't
role
happen in my
of
parents'
and
relationship
died of chronic
was the ability to really sit down and really talk about those core values. So
mhm,
they fought every single weekend. Every single weekend they fought. They played pinochle. They drank Inver House. They drank Pabst Blue Ribbon beer and fought.
mhm,
That's the relationship that I grew up watching, right? So because they didn't have agreement in the core areas, it made their relationship struggle. Um, and so it's less about, that's why when a sister leads with, hey, I graduated from this school, cool, we cool with that. I make this amount of money. I mean, fine. But who are you going to be with me? Right? That's who you are in the corporate world. That's who you are on your job. But who will you be with me? And if who you're going to be with me is synonymous with who you are at your job, we probably don't want to rock out with that. And because no brother wants a sister who is too hard,
mm,
right? We don't want women, we want the softer side of us, right?
mm,
And so if you always talking about numbers and you always talking about firing someone, when you pass that portal of the house, can you soften so that I can be in my masculine, you can be in your feminine, and we can rock out from there?
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And so this is another thing that I see that kind of comes up. So if you have this kind of the CEO like woman and she's earning a lot of income and then she's dating someone who's not earning as much as she is earning, but then she wants to do all of these fabulous things, right?
Mhm,
And then he can't really afford maybe to do those things. So
mhm,
either she's going to pay for the both of them to
mhm,
do it,
mhm, mhm,
or they don't do it and then she gets, she's feeling some type of way about it, but
mhm,
she continues to, I would say, maybe make him feel bad about it, right?
mhm,
Or
mhm.
it just creates an issue.
Yeah.
So, and that would be in that same, in the context of you're dating someone who's maybe not at the same income level, maybe those exciting things that you have developed for yourself are just not what he wants to do. Maybe he can't afford it, or maybe he's just not into it. So, how would you, what advice would you give women? Because I know people and they're in these
Yeah, yeah.
circumstances. And how would you advise them? You know?
Yeah. So
And I guess, Don, let me say this too. Like
yeah.
you can be in a marriage
Yes.
and you could be years in a marriage and look up and not share the same value system, right? And I,
Yeah.
on a matchmaking end, I'm making matches based on value systems
Yes.
and the things that you may enjoy and they may enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know how you would respond to that. What are men thinking in that situation?
So I want to be clear on this too, right? So I don't speak for every man, but I've been one for 52 years. So I know something about what it means to be a man, right? And one of the things that I would say is it is less about money, it's more about his life's trajectory. Like where is he going? Do you share the same value system around work ethic, around pushing harder? Are you goal oriented? Because for every sister who meets a guy who has a dream, who has a vision, who is clear about his life's script and the direction of his life, that dude won't be broke very long. Even if he's broke at that moment, he won't be broke very long, right?
So you're saying look at that man's potential? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, and potential is a dangerous word.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
potential is a dangerous word, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about potential in the context of looking at a guy who has a bunch of dreams but hasn't done anything with the dreams. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about because here's the deal, Yolanda. All of us have potential. We're born with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every black man has potential. There's brilliance in every single black man. There's brilliance in every single black woman. All of us have potential. That's not the question. The question is, what does your life's trajectory look like? So, where were you 5 years ago? And where are you from 5 years ago? Where are you 3 years ago? Then where are you last year? And then so I can kind of draw a picture of where your life is going, right? The
Mm-hmm.
worst thing in the world is to create relationship based on a point in time. And that's good or bad, right? Let's say a sister meets a guy and he's got 250 grand in the bank. He's doing really, really well. Well, you don't know how he got 250 grand in the bank,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have no idea. You're judging him on a point in time. If he won the lottery, if he got an inheritance. There are a number of different scenarios that could have happened in order for him to show up with $250,000 in the bank. That doesn't impress me. What impresses me is a guy who 5 years ago had $1,000 in the bank, and then 3 years or 2 years later, he's got $10,000 in the bank, and then 2 years later, he's got $50,000 in the bank. You see his trajectory. So I
Mm-hmm.
think what we've got to be better at is making sure that we are not judging a man based on a point in time, because that point in time can go either way. $250,000 in the bank can become $1,000 in the bank really, really quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to see what direction his life is going. And I also want to see what direction her life is going to determine whether or not they are a good match with one another.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's why, dating is a process. It's a process. Like you can't marry them on the first date. You have to go through the process and really get your questions answered
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
learn about people. And then
Yes.
make a determination about whether the relationship is right for you.
Yes.
You
Yes.
shouldn't be in it trying to figure out if it's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And a part of that is facing the realities of what you uncover, right? So in the middle of the dating, a good friend of mine, Bishop Greg Davis, calls it gathering data. That the purpose of dating is to gather data. Let me gather as much information as I can possibly gather so that I understand exactly what's going on with you. I understand, what's your relationship like with your mom? Was your
Mhm.
dad around? Were you
Mhm.
raised by, like, what did you have grandparents? What did that look like? Right? Because all of those things help to shape how we are and who we are um, with regard to the whole dating process, right? So I want to
Yeah.
make sure that we are absolutely and Yolanda, I want you to send me your website address. I'm gonna scroll it at the bottom of the screen so that
Yes.
people can you can send it to me by text, and then I can get it to people. So you want to ask the appropriate questions, not the surface questions that everybody's asking. What do you do for a living? Right?
Yes.
Um, those are easy questions. People have to learn to start asking the difficult questions, um, so that they get the kinds of answers they genuinely want to get. So I think that becomes really, really important.
And I just want to add for women, you take the data. So you're learning, you're asking questions, you're getting to know. But then I want women to stop making emotional decisions around it. Take the information just like you would as the CEO, right?
Yes,
Process the information and make an intelligent decision,
yes,
not
yes,
based on emotion, not I feel like I need someone. Oh, I feel lonely, so I just want to connect with someone.
yes,
And that's
yes.
how you become successful.
Absolutely. And in fact, it one of the things, a dear friend of mine, I was talking with her before we got on today, and she was talking to me. She said, "Hey, Donald, I love the conversations that you're having right now, and I'm attempting to make sure, as a black man who leads a black male organization, both on the coaching and consulting side, right? So the coaching side, I don't work with anyone other than black males. That's it, right? But on the consulting side, I do my best to help other people understand the black male. And that's why you and I are on today, right?
That's
So that I
right.
can help your audience understand the black male. You can help my audience understand the black female, and what both of us are looking for. The problem is, she said to me, she said, usually when in the dating space, when a black man, she said, I sit down and I listen intently. And she said, the black man, when he shares, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. Our sisters say, I'm going to change his mind. I'm gonna change his mind. He ain't never met nobody like me, right? And he's just been waiting for somebody like me to come along,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna use my body because sex, I know, is his number one need. And sisters, let me just kind of give you this: sex is not the number one need for a man. It's not. It just is not. People have told you that for years. Brothers use that as a means of being able to advance with you. But sex is not the number one need for a man. The number one need for every man is respect. He has to have it, right? And so that's why we ask crazy questions, Yolanda, in the
Yeah.
bedroom, right? In the bedroom, we ask. This is rated R, y'all. So if your kids are somewhere near, put them away. Tell your kids to go in the room, watch cartoons. Because here's the deal: we ask crazy questions in the bedroom during the lovemaking session, right? Here's the questions that we ask: Whose is it? See, that's a question, Yolanda. That's a question. That's a question of respect. That's him
Mm.
attempting to find place of respect. He needs to hear that he's more than adequate even in the bedroom. He needs to hear that he's more than adequate on his job. He needs to hear
Mhm.
those things. So when a sister says, when he says to you, "Hey sis, I'm not really interested in anything serious," or "Hey sis, I'm really about my career right now. I got some goals that I'm willing to hang out with you. I love hanging out with you. I think you dope, but don't try to rush me into something because I'm just not there yet." And what she hears is, "Oh, you're not there yet."
Yep.
So that yet is the glaring phrase that she hears, the glaring word that she hears, and she spends the rest of her time trying to get him to understand that she's the best thing for him. And then she gets her feelings hurt because at the end of
Mhm.
the day, he was upfront from the very beginning and saying, "Sis, I told you, that's just not where I am in my life."
I just want to say something about this sex thing to women, right? 'Cause that always comes up. So I
Yes,
just, this is the rule. If you really like a man, don't lead with sex. If you
yes,
really like him. Now, if you don't like him, do you? If you really like him, do not lead with sex.
yes, yes. And tell us why, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm interested in your perspective on why.
And so let me go back to that emotional thing, and it's a physical thing for a man. And men, once men are hunters. Once they, it's like if you're holding out, like they can hang, and it's like a chase,
Right,
right?
right, right, right.
But once you have sex with a man, then all of that kind of goes away. He doesn't have that same energy and engagement to be in relationship with you. And that's not absolute now.
Right, right,
There's
right.
people that have sex on the first date and it lasts forever. So
Absolutely.
it's not absolute, but in general, if you know that you have a problem and you're having sex with men or men having sex with women and you're not connecting, you should consider that is a problem.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And it's not a. I don't want anyone to think that that's a moral judgment, because for me, it's not a moral judgment. It's a
Mhm.
practical judgment, right?
Mhm.
Here's what we
Mhm.
know: when you engage in the sexual experience, it is not just physical. It's emotional, it's deeply spiritual, right? So even for a man, although a man can confine it to being just physical, right? If he gets a hold of a sister that is genuinely solid, it can even it sex taints judgment. It taints judgment. So all of the red flags that you should be seeing in
Mhm.
someone else, you don't see because of the sexual experience. You begin to make excuses for their behaviors because the sexual experience got you all tied up. And I mean that literally. Y'all done tied each other up and y'all swinging from the chandeliers, y'all breaking headboards, y'all doing all of those things, right? And
Yeah.
what you have to recognize is when that is the preface by which you lead into a relationship, you now are blind to all of the things that are saying do not proceed,
Mhm.
right? So I don't want you to think Yolanda and I are saying that there's a moral judgment. For me, it's not
No,
a
it's
moral
no
judgment.
judgment.
There's no
Mm-mm.
there's no moral judgment with it. It is though helping you to understand that at the end of the day, you're clouding your ability to see some things that the whole dating process is designed for you to see. And if
Mhm.
you introduce sex too quickly, you're blind to the things because sex was so good. And now you're engaged, you're involved with all that. Listen, sex is good for everybody. Don't
Yeah.
get it twisted. Sex is good for everybody. Anybody that says sex ain't good ain't doing it right. They don't know what they're doing, right? But what I'm saying to you is if you're going to have a mature, healthy relationship, like
Mhm.
Yolanda said, don't lead with that. Because the
Mhm.
moment you introduce that, it changes the game with regard to what you're able to see in the other person.
And for women, you said it taints what,
It
Donald?
taints it taints judgment.
Takes judgment, but it also taints a man respect for a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
They
Because
make
we
and they'll go along with it and they'll lead you into it, but
sure,
then it will taint their respect for you.
sure, sure. And again, I mean, there is a universal law of who a man genuinely believes is going to be in his life long term. Now listen, sis, do what you do. No judgment. This is what Yolanda and I just said. Do what you do, bruh. Do what you do. No judgment. But what I'm saying to you is that the likelihood of him taking you seriously is far less likely when you introduce sex quickly. Now, everybody got to be able to measure what that is for them. That ain't my twist. I'm not here to say wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year until marriage. That ain't my twist. I'm saying
But people
you
should
will,
have a rule, Don. They should have a rule for themselves.
yeah,
Know what
absolutely.
your own rule is for yourself and
Absolutely.
govern yourself accordingly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So whatever that rule is for you, um, any man that attempts to cause you to violate your own sense of values will violate his, right? If he doesn't value your values, he doesn't value his own. Okay. So it becomes really, really important that you navigate the sexual space and the intimacy space really, really carefully. And I
Mhm.
overemphasize this on purpose because, sometimes we have Christians watching. I'm a card carrying Christian. I have been for 52 years. I was born into Christianity, right? My mom beat Christianity into me. So I get when people hear the whole sex thing, well, you just saying that because God don't like fornication. That ain't even my twist. Most people don't even know what fornication is. That's not my twist. What I'm saying to you is it is nature to understand that when you introduce it too quickly, when you relax your own boundaries about it and you introduce it too quickly, your relationship is on a path to clear destruction
Mhm.
because
So,
you won't honor your own set of values. Don't let anyone push you beyond your own set of values. Yes, ma'am.
Jennifer in the group, she says, if a man is unhappy with his career and doing nothing about it, it's a wrap for her. So, yeah, Jennifer say it's a wrap. Like, look, okay. And then Dr. Carla Lindsay, she has a question, and her question is, what are the deeper questions to ask on a first or second date? I think that's a really good question. Thank you,
That is a
Doctor.
really good question. But I'm Dr. Lindsay, I'm this guy. I'm the guy who believes in the organic pace of relationship.
Mm,
I'm not the guy who genuinely believes that you ought to have these hard and fast rules on the first date. You got to get this question in, the hard and fast rule on the second date. You got to get this question in. I'm the guy that believes that God will allow certain conversations to take a particular pace, tone, and trajectory that will give you all of the answers that you need. So, if there are certain things that are more important to you than others, um, so for example, I know there are women who say, and there are guys who disagree with me on this as well. There are guys who say, "Don't ask me whether or not you want to be married on the first date," right? But if you are a sister who says, "I am only dating to marry," that's the only reason I date, then you're going to have to find out those kinds of things up front and even be willing to find out some of those things, Dr. Lindsay, on the telephone before you go out on your first date. Have some of these conversations without even being in the company of a person, because those times make it a little less awkward, and you can get some of those questions answered. But I ask value questions, right? I encourage our brothers to ask value questions. A brother who is clear about his life's purpose and destiny has to ask questions that are consistent with what he is called to do. My spiritual father, Dr. Mike Freeman, says it this way. He said that most men are deciding disconnected from destiny, right? Most men are deciding disconnected from destiny. So when they're deciding on who they're going to spend their life with, they're deciding based on very surface things and not deciding based on the destiny that they have and whether or not this sister can really come alongside and help to support that dream that that sister a moment ago said, and if you got a job and you don't like your job and you complaining all the time and you ain't doing nothing about it, it's a wrap for me. And sis is right. It should be a wrap for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So being able to ask questions about values, Dr. Lindsay, being able to ask the question about how you were raised, who were you raised by? Here's one question that everybody ought to ask. Are you in therapy? Are you in therapy?
I agree.
And right? And
Mm-hmm.
if he is not, or if he thinks that therapy is something bad, that's a dude you should watch out. You should watch out for. Here's
Yeah,
why.
what are you doing to support your mental health,
What
right?
are
Like,
you doing to support your mental health?
right.
Right? Those are the kinds of questions we should be asking.
Mm-hmm.
Because Black folk, by and large, I did some work at Princeton Theological Seminary. I'm a fellow of their Black Theology and Leadership Institute, right? And one of my professors said during that time, every Black person need a coach. All of us need a coach,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you get a person who does not take mental health seriously, then that is a person you should probably not spend a whole lot of time with, right? Because every one of us, I've got a therapist, I got a coach, I got a pastor, anybody that can help figure out all this stuff that's going on in my head, I have and make myself available to, right? So those are the kinds of questions that should be asked, Dr. Lindsay. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, like, don't force it. It's the
Right,
first date, it's the second day, you know, and the whole goal of dating is let's just get to the next date. Let's just see if we like each other enough to, sit down at the table or walk
right,
in the park or have a,
right,
do we like each other enough? Are you fun enough? Is it something about you that I find interesting and I want to get to know about?
right, right. Absolutely. And watch his demeanor with the wait staff. You'll find out a lot about him as you
Hmm.
watch his relationship with those that are air quote less than what he makes. How does he treat them? Right? Does he yell at them? Now, there's nothing wrong with him getting what he ordered. There's nothing wrong with him being direct. There's nothing wrong with him saying, hey, this is not what I ordered. This is what I need you to do. Nothing wrong with that. Right? That's a masculine energy that every man has. But if he is overly rude, right? If he's nasty to people, hey sis, he gonna be nasty to you, right? Same thing for brothers. If she's nasty on a date, if she don't let nobody get a word in edgewise, if you talking to her and she overtalk you, my guy, you should run, right? Because on the first date, even if we don't realize we're doing it, we're still putting our best foot forward,
Mhm.
right? I don't ever encourage that. I encourage all out authenticity from day one. That's just who I am. I ain't gonna play no games. I'm not gonna pretend, right? But if by chance a person is putting their best foot forward and their best foot forward is showing you some things that are red flags, yeah, you should be aware of that, right?
Be
Um,
aware and don't be afraid to say it's just not for me and just walk away. Don't try and make it to a second date. Don't try and make it work. Who cares if they call, right? It's not for
Absolutely.
you. Make a decision and stick with the decision.
Absolutely. And it doesn't make them a bad guy and it doesn't make you a bad woman, right? It just
Mhm.
means that you two are not aligned for one another. Believe it or
Yeah.
not, there is a sister for that dude and there is a brother for you.
Mhm.
Gathering data is helping you to determine whether or not this person is for you. So, yeah, that's an incredibly good point.
Yeah, Andrew agrees that therapy is a must have for everyone.
Absolutely, Andrew. And so that's a brother that said that?
Yeah, that's a brother.
Outstanding, dude. I don't even know you, but thank you for sharing that. It is a must for everybody. it's a must for everybody, right? And so most people don't take the time to really ask those kinds of questions. And to your point, man, just the first day, just have some fun, enjoy yourself, laugh, giggle, the way we used to. All
Yeah.
these rules now, everybody. Well, what are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals? None of your business, man. I don't even know. I don't know you like that. I just want to eat my steak, baby girl. I want to eat my steak. I want to drink my Merlot, and I
That's
want to
it.
go in and see whether or not we can rock out one more time on the next
Yeah.
date.
And if it's not fun, why would I ask you for a second date?
Absolutely. And my boy Romy Coles is in Cleveland, Ohio. His church says this. He says, if it ain't fun, I don't want none.
I love it. It has to
Yes,
be fun.
yes.
So Don, we have a lot of questions, and time is ticked away on us. We
Okay.
started a little bit late.
Yeah.
Dr. Carla has some more questions. Oh my goodness. So, when should you tell a person you are dating that you're celibate? Should it be on the first date? I would say absolutely not. We just covered like the first date, it's just a fun date. I mean, and if you're celibate, you're just going to be that. And when you get around to having that conversation, you should look for that person to respect that that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, y'all, there are no hard and fast rules. Allow the spirit of your relationship to emerge. Take your time. Stop thinking that you ain't got tomorrow, right?
Mm,
So now here's what I would say though, Yolanda. If that dude starts looking at you like you a snack, if that dude says start looking at you like you a snack, and
yeah.
he start making sexual innuendos, and he's talking about things that are just inappropriate on the first date, and
Uh-huh.
and here's the deal: there are some good guys who do that. They just don't know any better. They just don't. They don't know any better. So you know, um, if it comes up in the natural course of relationship because he says something that's a little bananas, then feel free to check him. Like, yeah, my guy, that's a right. That's a bit inappropriate, And I've been celibate for however long. So you
Yeah.
and watch it, and then pause and watch his body language,
Yeah.
right? And if his body language is a bit iffy, yeah, be aware, right? Because a man is a man when he has character, right? I'm big on character. Every brother that has ever worked with me knows that that's all we talk about. We talk about business and we talk about family and we talk about his personal life, but all of that we talk about filtered through the lens of a man's internal being, who he is at his core,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
And so we live in a society now where the standards are so relaxed, right? That I'm having to help guys understand, hey man, you just gotta engage this a bit differently. You can't talk all off the wall. You gotta respect our queens. You gotta love them. You gotta deeply love them, and you gotta love them as a sister before you ever love them as a wife. And if you're not able to do that, then you should probably halt on your ability to date for a minute, right? So yeah, just take your time. If it comes up, deal with it. If it doesn't come up, don't feel obligated to share with a man. And where is the assumption comes from? See, I think that's the other thing too. And then we'll get to I guess the last question, and we're gonna have to do a part two to this.
Mhm.
Where we can come back together and do this again. Um, But sisters, understand that you are under no obligation to assume that men want sex from you. Don't assume that. You should assume to be treated like whenever the sexual experience happens, it happens because both of you want it to happen and both of you are mature enough for it to happen, and it just happens. But don't assume that a guy's number one goal is to sex you, because if it is, then that is not a guy that you should be dating. A guy that leads with that the same way that you lead with career, nah, leave him alone. And I
Yeah.
say that in front of guys. I love y'all. I respect and honor every brother. I don't respect all the behaviors that we exhibit, but I respect and honor every single man. And
Mhm.
brothers, we got to do better as it relates to how we're showing up in the relationship space, right? And treat our queens like they are the queens that they are. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Any
I
other?
would only add to that, if you're dating and you're celibate, there are groups of people that you can even find, on social media that practice celibacy, right? Find your tribe. Find your
Yes.
tribe, find like-minded people and engage
Yes.
with those people
Yes.
because they share your same value system.
Absolutely. That's such an important point. There's a group for everybody now, y'all.
Hmm.
You are not an anomaly. There is a group for everybody right now. Celibate people. There's a group for people that duck watch on the date. There's a group for everybody. There's
Everybody.
you don't have to live your life in isolation. And if again, I overemphasize this, if a dude says, I'm not willing to really rock out with you, I'm not celibate, don't take that personally. That's that
Hmm.
own dude. But there is someone who is willing to rock out with the value system that you hold dear. Don't compromise, don't become compliant. Same thing for brothers. Don't compromise, don't become compliant, right? If she needs you to pay her bills because she's in trouble on day one, yeah, bro, run.
Yeah.
Right? There are certain things that we just ought to know. Um, as I'm getting to know a person, hey, you should probably not be engaged in this kind of behavior, this kind of conversation, unless both of you, I mean, that's what both of you do, fine.
Mm.
I mean, we ain't nobody to tell y'all not to do that,
Yeah.
but we do want to let you just kind of know these are the consequences of that kind of behavior, and this is where that goes as
Yeah,
a
and
result.
we want our audience to have the best shot at connection, right? We
Absolutely.
we want we want to share with you what's going on behind the scenes in our businesses, our coaching, and we want you to have the best opportunity to make connections without just considering all of these questions in your mind. These are real situations, real people.
Yes.
So it's been
I've really enjoyed this. Are there any other questions that that are pressing that we need to answer, or do we just need to come back for a part two?
I think we're going to come back for a part two. I do want to read Andrew's. He said, the struggle is no one is a whole, as a whole, is teaching men about these attributes that you mentioned. No one as a whole
Andrew,
is teaching this, but he knows about the remand
absolutely,
project
bro.
and effect, and that's a part of the teaching.
Absolutely, man. And so thank you for sharing that. And there, we were talking about this on Facebook earlier today, just how much our sisters are doing to position themselves, right? For love, for career, for education, doesn't matter what it is. Our sisters are really pushing to position themselves for the best possible experience, while brothers are super, super lax. And so for me, my whole goal, Andrew, in life, man, I'll do this until the day I die. My contribution to my culture is to make sure that we are providing top notch, top 1% of men in this country and around the world, so that our sisters have a pool of brothers from which to choose to recognize they're going to get a quality dude, right? I think our society needs Black men to rise up and to be the best possible men we can be. And so, for those of you that are watching, do me a favor, Andrew, for you in particular, bruh, go to remancommunity.com. That is a private Facebook group, no sisters allowed, right? And it's a private Facebook group for all black, all black men, where we talk about the real stuff. We talk about what's really good. We talk about sex. We talk about business. We talk about fatherhood issues. We talk about all of those things that are specific and unique to Black males.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'd ask you, Andrew, to join and then invite 5 brothers to join it as well. We are going to build a movement of Black males that are going to take over the planet so that our sisters feel protected and loved and cherished in the way that they really should, and that we're making the kind of paper we need to make. We're living the kind of lives we need to live. And most importantly, man, we're developing the kind of character we should be developing. So for the ladies, if your boo, tell your boo to join the Remand community. Your uncle, your dad, your husband, your son, tell everybody to
Mhm.
join the Remand community, so that just like Andrew said, there is a community now of brothers, Andrew, that are absolutely interested in you being the kind of brother that you want to be. And we're here to support you, man, to honor, to respect you as the warrior that you are, as the honorable man that you are. And we want to see you win. So
And
this has
that's
been a
Drew from
great.
Houston, Don. That's Drew from Houston. He wanted you to know it's Drew
Oh,
from
Drew
Houston.
from Houston. That's my
Yeah.
dude. Drew from
Hmm.
Houston. That is my guy. And so yes, Drew is already a part of the Remain. He is one of my best friends in the world, a absolute brother to me. And so yeah, every single brother, just know that there is space. And for
Yes.
every lady, tell your dude, hey, I found a group. Ain't nothing but Black men in it.
Yes.
And you should at least check it out, right? Doesn't cost anything, just kind of check it out.
Yes. And Carla says, Donald, you're doing great work. Thank you. And
Thank
you
you,
are.
Carla. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yes. So I think it's time to close. I don't see any more questions
Okay, cool
for this
beans.
live session, but we will schedule a part two.
Cool
Um,
beans.
I would love for everyone to go and subscribe to my Love and Vogue website if
Yes,
you are a single person. And that's if you're a man or woman living
yes.
single. And follow me on social media at My Love and Vogue, for dating advice, events, and my service offerings. So we appreciate you being with us this evening. It's been
Absolutely.
fun. It's been
It's
real.
it's been real, it's been fun, and you guys are gonna see more of us working together. I absolutely adore and love Yolanda Kelly. I love the work that she's doing. And I want to be a part of that. Both of us are committed to Black culture. We're
Mhm.
committed to it, right? I tell brothers all the time, this ain't even about you, man. This is about the culture, right?
Mhm.
And our responsibility to contribute to the culture in a way that advances the culture, right? So you're going to see more of us. Um, I want to have each of you pre-purchase the book. So if you, the Remand book, we got a new book release. So you'll be able to get it ahead of time. A portion of the book's profits will go to a nonprofit that some of it, just because I had my own bout with cancer, some of it is going to go to cancer research, and others will deal with, organizations that are doing their best to mentor young boys, but it won't all come into the pocket of the Remand Project. But we want you to order the book, and then also subscribe to our social media channels. Do me a favor, y'all. And there's a particular reason why I'm asking. Our YouTube page is just launched, so if you go to my YouTube page, um, and subscribe, I think there are only like 80 something people on it. It's brand new, but if you go to subscribe and we can get to 100 people, there 100 is a magic number for something. right?
Oh,
So
let's make it happen.
yes. So please go subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to Real Don Morton at on Facebook and then also on LinkedIn, where we are right now broadcasting all of those places. Go to Yolanda Kelly's pages, Love and Vogue, and let's
My
build
Love in Vogue. My
My
Love in
Love
Vogue
and Vogue,
on
right?
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, so I want everybody to go there and connect with her, and let's continue to ride these wheels till the wheels fall off. Let's
That's
rock out
it.
till the wheels fall off.
Don, would you talk about your virtual event that's coming up? I don't know if
Yeah,
Matt, can you talk about that?
yes, April the 14th through the 16th of this year, we have a virtual event, Remain Live. And so let me put it in here so that I can have everybody go, or you can just go. If you go to Remand Live, REMANNEDLIVE.com, remandlive.com. We have a virtual event. It's our last virtual event that is all virtual. In October, we're headed. Uh, I'm hoping y'all pray for your boy. I'm hoping we go to Atlanta. I still got some responsibility in Destin, Florida, but I want to be where the chocolate people are, right? So
Mhm.
we're going to be in Atlanta. But the virtual event is happening April the 14th through the 16th. The VIP day starts on the 13th. And we are sponsored by Discover Bank. We are sponsored by Love and Vogue. We're sponsored by others that are going to make this happen, right? And so it's going to be an incredible time. We're talking to Black businessmen or Black male entrepreneurs who want to start business. We've got branding experts that are going to be in the house. We've got fatherhood and marriage experts that will be in the house. We've got real estate experts and how to structure deals that will be in the house. It's going to be bananas. So I need you there, and we will address things. Now, for those of you that just let me warn you, it ain't always pretty inside Remand. Remand is a smash mouth football organization. We get down and dirty with what's real and raw because everybody is coddling people these days, and I'm not interested in coddling a grown man. I'm interested in positioning that man to be the best that he can possibly be. And that sometimes means I got to get in his chest, and that sometimes means he's got to get in mine. So we play smash mouth football. It's an aggressive organization, but we make it happen. We've got brothers winning all across the country, from Texas, like Drew, to California, like Cedric Nelms, to Minneapolis, Minnesota, Nairobi, Kenya, Accra, Ghana, Bluefield, Nicaragua, Florida. We are doing incredibly well. So we need you to be a part of it. April the 14th through the 16th, all day, 2.5 days. And then the 13th is a mastermind day for our guys and also a VIP day for guys that are not a part of our mastermind. So thank you for reminding me of
Are
that.
women invited to the virtual event? Or it's all for men?
All men,
All men.
all men. So what we do, there is a session where we ask husbands to bring their wives, gather their families around the space, because we actually dive deep into couple stuff, right? So
Mm.
there is a session. It's only one session, and here's the reason, y'all. There are so many organizations for our sisters, so many of them for sisters, for young people, for other communities, that I am intentional about protecting the integrity and culture of the Remand Project, that it will always be, as long as I'm on the planet, as long as I'm leading it, it will always be about Black men. Always, right? So, but we do understand that Black men are connected, right? And so his wife, his lady, um, and let me just give a quick testimony, Yolanda. One of our mastermind clients recently sent me a message, and he said, "This is his quote, Donald. I just love being a Black man.
Mm.
The fact that I'm able to walk in my true and authentic self, and the fact that my relationship is so solid now. I'm able to do for her what I wasn't able to do for her some time ago because I've transformed. It's transformed my entire relationship." And he
Mm.
talked about taking her away. he wrote. They did kind of a questionnaire one time, and they asked, "Who is most responsible for the love that you walk in towards your lady?" And he said, "Donald Morton and the Remand Project. The love that I have for my woman is now the result of the work that I have done inside this organization."
Mhm.
Right. So I ain't popping my collar, but I'm popping my collar. We do the work. Right? uh, we do the work because I want to see black men show up. And because I've made so many mistakes, Yolanda, in my life as a black man. You're not looking at a guy who hasn't made significant mistakes. I've made significant mistakes. I've been married and divorced, right?
Mhm.
So I know what that is. I know the hurt of that. And if I can save any couple from that, then I will. So connect with us. You can go to remandproject.com, remandinternational.com, remandcommunity.com. It's remand something. Everything begins with remand. We just want you guys to connect. It was so good spending time with you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, I mean, this was so refreshing. It's so real. We're just here doing what we can do to help Black relationships, save Black families.
Absolutely.
We're going to give it all we have. So,
Absolutely.
thank you
Without
too.
question. You got it. Guys, I want y'all to have an incredible evening. I'm on this crazy schedule with eating. So my clock is ringing. I'm supposed to eat right now. So I'm getting ready to go eat. You guys have an incredible evening. For every brother, make sure that you're inside the Remand community. Join Remand Live. Be a part of the boot camp. We've got a 5-day boot camp that starts tomorrow, remandbootcamp.com. It is a free boot camp. You can go to Remand Boot Camp, sign up for that, be a part of that live 5-day challenge. We got a lot going on for you to be able to be a part of and get your whole life together. So that's our goal. All right, y'all. I love and respect y'all, and I'll talk with you guys soon. Peace.